I'm Andrew Gilman, and I'm with the Road Connection, and we kind of the whole idea behind the Road Connection is that we're traveling the country for the better part of a year to educate Americans on all different levels, from all walks of life, that the infrastructure, specifically road funding for roads, is important. We're going to be lobbying congressional members. We're going to be traveling to open houses, trade shows, all sorts of different dealer events to kind of spread our message. So we were in a unique position. We wanted to take a pit stop and talk to you guys, on a local level, about how those federal dollars kind of help trickle down into the local economies. Kurt, anything that I missed out there?
In addition to what Andrew was saying, we'll be traveling in the U.S. and whenever we see any highway construction or recycling projects going on, or even in a pit, we'll pull over, we'll take photos, introduce ourselves, probably buy the crew lunch, or a lot of PR stuff, and just be good guys, but still make them aware of or everybody that we run into about the highway funding, and then also, like Andrew was saying about the politicians, that bill runs out, I believe it's the end of March, and so they need to bring it back to life or keep it going.
So again, thank you for meeting with us.
Well, thanks, Andrew, for the invitation.
Sure.
Can I just chirp in a little bit from a local perspective?
Absolutely.
A couple things. First of all, American Society of Civil Engineers, a group that I'm sure you all are familiar with, a group I'm a member of, says nationally we're in serious problems with our infrastructure. Our road infrastructure is about a D-, as I recall, nationally. Our bridge is about the same situation. So at a local level, we're very supportive of initiatives at the federal level and at the state level to provide funding sources. The funding for us, realistically, at a local level, we barely have enough money to continue to maintain our street system. We have about 2,200 lane miles here in the city of Des Moines. We don't use property taxes. We use road use tax money to not only do winter maintenance, which is pretty important in the Midwest, as part of the Midwest this time of year, but also important to resurface with asphalt and concrete our 2,200 miles. When it comes to real improvements in our system, adding additional lanes, providing greater surface transportation, greater speed, we really look to the federal government. The federal government certainly has provided a lot of resources to us over the years, but unfortunately what happens is it stops and starts. There's a great deal of uncertainty. We have a major project we're actually very close to right here that involves a lot of federal dollars, but it's coming in segments. We've completed 3 or 4 major pieces of it, but it essentially stops over here at a road to nowhere, so it looks to many of our residents as we await more federal dollars, and that uncertainty around it, very difficult for us. But at the end of the day, we all know that streets and roads and bridges are important to transportation and commerce, creates jobs, gets us around, provides knowledge and goods and services going out into our communities, and is just absolutely critical to how our economy works. So certainly from a local perspective, we want to be supportive in everything you're doing. Wish you the best of luck in D.C. Hope you have an opportunity to stop and talk with the capitals. You're going to be going through Des Moines, Springfield, wherever it may be, because very important, both state and federal folks who are elected and have a lot of priorities, which we understand, recognize that infrastructure, it's like changing the oil in your truck. You decide not to change the oil and you can get by with it for a little while, but ultimately you're buying an entire new engine, and we're really at that point where we need to do incremental investment to keep our current investment from falling apart. We're very close to being at that point now where we'll be spending so many more dollars in the future just to keep the system together. So good luck to you.
Right. We kind of talked a little bit about infrastructure funding on a federal level, how it trickles down to the local level, and we talked about its importance in Congress. My next question would be about with an infusion of infrastructure dollars, what specific projects would you be able to work on to improve roadways in Des Moines specifically?
Was as an example, the Southeast Connector, which is the area we're in right here, we would certainly want to see additional federal dollars to complete this, several $1 million necessary to complete the investment that's already been started. But a lot of jobs, it's in industrial areas, you can see a lot of jobs are created by that kind of improvement coming in. It does a lot of environmental cleanup in the construction itself, but then provides a necessary transportation link to a lot of the heavy industry around here to get into interstate commerce and to ship to Denver and to LA and to the East Coast. So very important to us. Those federal dollars really are critical. Without it, if at the local level, we're simply at a point where we're so busy maintaining our existing system, real improvements, real capital improvements only come from federal assistance, so we vitally need it.
Excellent, excellent. And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but we'll go back to it. In your opinion, how do road development projects affect public and private sector growth in Des Moines?
Well, certainly immediately in the short term, they create construction jobs, which are great jobs for folks and provide a huge benefit to the community. But more important, in the long run, it's provided an asset that's there long after the folks who did the construction work have moved on to the next piece of the puzzle. And in transportation, obviously, it's providing quicker, cheaper transportation that's necessary to move goods and services from point A to point B. So very important to our local economy.
Excellent, excellent. Can you touch base on some of those projects that have spurred growth and job creation in the city that you guys have been a part of recently?
Absolutely, and there are two that come to mind. The Southeast Connector, where we're on the end of here. If you go closer to the city itself, you'll see a number of businesses, restaurants, a lot of entertainment businesses in particular that have developed around that because they see the opportunity to capitalize really on commerce. A lot additional traffic coming into the area. Neighborhoods are cleaned up through the construction projects themselves. Around the city of Des Moines and going into Warren County and part of Dallas County, actually, we have a loop, the Highway 5 loop that goes around us here, funded through federal dollars. Very important to balance development and growth here in the metro area, letting people make the choice to live out a little bit, but yet have a transportation corridor where they can work downtown. So very important to providing the people necessary to support businesses in the downtown area.
Right, excellent. What efforts are being made or have been made locally to not just rely on federal funding, but to find other outlets to help you get the money you need each year?
Every year we're involved with a number of different professional groups to talk about state road use taxes, which come through the state of Iowa, the Department of Transportation in Iowa, to the county and to us. Very important. But we do a number of things. As an example, there's a casino not far from where we are right now that we partner with for road use improvements and bridge improvement dollars to help us locally. So we're in a situation where we certainly understand the federal government can't be the only source of funding, but there are a number of different avenues out there that we're pursuing. But when it comes really to the large-scale, multi-community improvements that really cut across political jurisdictions, we need federal help, and we've consistently been the beneficiary of that. We just need more of that benefit, not only here in Des Moines, but in cities across the United States.
Right. Well, and that kind of brings us to my next question. You know, we're going out on the road for 9 months to spread our message. What do you think we'll find out there in terms of road conditions in other cities similar to the size of Des Moines? Where does Des Moines rank unofficially?
Well, certainly our bridges we're most concerned about. We have about 70 passenger vehicle bridges in Des Moines. We're at the confluence of a couple rivers here. We're very concerned about that. The ASCE, the American Society of Civil Engineers report, really points to us as being in the lower quadrant in the United States in our bridges. Our streets are a little bit better. The long and short of it is every local government really is at a point that any local government that I can think of that has funding resources right now that are shrinking as we look to making sure our police and fire are taken care of in a world where local communities certainly put a lot of emphasis on that. Streets are often put aside, like changing the oil in your car. You might be able to skip it and you can set it aside for a little while. It catches up to you, and we're really in that point. So I'm pretty confident as you go on your 9-month trip, you're going to see a lot of folks that are similarly situated to us. And in a tough economy, it's hard to kind of belly up to the bar and recognize that you're going to have to make some investments, suffer a little pain in the short term to deal with the longer term issues. Otherwise, they'll catch up and be far more expensive.
Right, absolutely. Let's see. Now, you did an interview a couple days ago with KCCI about we've had a very mild winter so far. What kinds of projects will you be able to take on in the summer because of the mild winter and a decreased, not having to put as much of your budget into the winter so far?
Yeah, we're delighted to be in a situation where instead of using dollars from the road improvement funds to put into salt, to scrape off, if you will, for 3 or 4 months of the year, we can now put them into asphalt and concrete resurfacing, which are long-term improvements, not the short-term maintenance that's necessary for you and I to be able to drive around after a storm.
Right.
Those longer-term improvements are very important to us, and we've got a number of those. We're hoping to add several miles to our paving schedule to be able to add long-term improvements because we've saved dollars so far in what's been a mild winter.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Bill. Bill Stowe, Director of Public Works for the City of Des Moines and also Assistant City Manager. Is that correct?
That is correct, Andrew. Thanks. Forget about the titles right now. Let's just get more money for us.
All right, will do. Thank you very much.